Good day, good morning, good evening. This is YieldMax Mindset coming to you here. Amen. So if you are listening to this video and you hear my voice, it means God has um, renewed his mercy each morning as it states in the book of Lamentations. So with that being said, we will get into our portfolio review for year 2, week 14. All right. We'll start out with our individual investment account here. As you can see, our balance says $22,208.22. All right. Live, we're up 6 cents. Today, we're up $87.67. For the week, we are up $766. For the month, we're down $17,736. For the past 3 months, we're down $21,702. Year to date, we're down $20,581. In the past year, we're down $43,277. And all time, we are down $5,221. All right, you can see our buying power is at 19,762. Total margin available for use is 62,400. We're currently at use of margin at $42,637. Our portfolio buffers at 24%. All right, let's see here. As always, the first $1,000 of using margin is free, and my interest rate is at 5.25. My daily interest is at $3.05. All right, so being that we have less than 50,000, our interest rate is at $5.25%. It was in this category when we had value in our account between 100,000 and 1 million. But anyway, this is where we're at now. So with the Lord's help, and if I can listen and be obedient, we will get back there. All right, so available to withdraw from this account sits at $1,525. Uh, yes, okay. All right. And it wasn't this much. I actually just purchased something right before I start recording. So that's why it's sitting there. All right, so let's go over an individual account, and then we'll go over our cash count. We will hit our Charles Swap account. We will cover our Divi tracker and Snowball Analytics, and do our Excel spreadsheet after a Charles Swap account. Then we will hit our Divi tracker, Snowball Analytics, and then conclude with Q&A. Let's see if we can keep it on the hour. 1 hour. Let's go. All right, so first up, we have our Bitwise coin option income strategy. It's currently, I don't think it moves over the weekend, so this is probably where it closed Friday. $21 is where it sits. Our market value is at $10,500. We're down $823 in this account. Our average cost is $22.65 for 500 shares. Let's see, I believe we got dividends this past week on this account. Yep. All right, so we had 500 shares at $2.59. That gave us $1,297.47. All right. Next, we have SoFi. SoFi is $27.57. It's down 21 cents in the overnight market. Now, for those that may not be aware, SoFi, I think, did a $1.5 billion share buyback, if I got that correctly. But anyway, I have $27,540. We're down $249. Average cost is $27.79 for 1,000 shares. All right. Next, we got Hood. This is RobinHood. This is the actual RobinHood stock itself. And I wish I had a bigger position in this. Wish I got it earlier. I did have it at one time, sold out and got some profit, right? All right, but so right now it's at 133.75, right? It's up $1.80 in the overnight market. My market value is at 13,375. I bought this just right before recording. Well, I bought 80 shares just right before recording because our average cost was 116. We're up $363 for 100 shares. All right. So why did I buy some more? Because I like this. I really do. I think it's going to be. Now, this is no financial advice, and I don't have. This is just vibes, right? All right. I think that Robinhood has got more features that they're coming with, more things they're adding, more acquisition that they just completed. Matter of fact, they just completed one not too long ago. Let's see here. Robinhood enter Indonesia. Robinhood to enter Indonesia with brokerage and crypto trader acquisition. So this was reported by Reuters at I was saying yesterday. I thought this was done. Well, it says 2 minutes ago. But anyway, it says 2 minutes ago. So let's see here. All right. So Robinhood Market will acquire Indonesia brokerage firm. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Buna, Buna Capital, and licensed digital assets trader. I can't pronounce all that. Marking the retail trading platform's entry into the Southeast Asia's major crypto hub, the company said in a blog posted on Sunday. Indonesia is the world's largest leading adopters of cryptocurrency backed by supportive regulation and a tech-savvy young population, making it a prime target for U.S. firms seeking growth in Asia. So this is what Robinhood just acquired. Will it make the stock go up? Don't know, but I think overall Robinhood is poised to go up. All right, so that's why I bought some more. All right, dealing with that. Next, we got Grayscale Ethereum. ETCO is at 2105. Our market value is $1,052.50. We're up $30.75 for an average cost of $20.44 for 50 shares. I believe we did get some dividends on this. Let's see. This was on November 28th, 50 shares at 80 cents, $40.08. All right. All right. So next we got NEOS, Bitcoin High Income ETF, 4626, and it's up 65 cents in the overnight market. Our market value is $1,156. We're up $41.50 for $44.60 as our average cost for 25 shares. I believe we had some dividends for this as well. Don't show it, but I thought we did. I just showing the order field. Maybe it's in my other account. But anyway, I thought we received some dividends for that one. All right, we'll move right along. Next, we got Netflix. It's at 101.38. It's up $1.14 in the overnight market. Our market value is at $10,131. We're up $84 for an average cost of $100.47 for 100 shares. All right, so this position, Hood and SoFi, these are stock position I'm looking to make some cash on. even if it's just a few $1,000s each, but it's going to be cash added to my overall account that I don't have. So that's going to help pay down my margin. Uh, yeah. All right. Next, we're in our cash account. All right. So our cash account is at $4,892.58. Today we're down $123.63. Don't have much history here, so let's check it out. All right, for the week we're down $93.02. For the month we're down $107.46. All right, and then after that, it shouldn't be much. Everything else should be the same because we don't have enough history. All right, so we started with 5,000 in this account, 4,004 cents. Went up $82, come down, and here's our lowest. Our lowest value here at the count. Anyway, we got buying power of $607.03. I believe it was around $500, but we got dividends, and so that increased that position. All right, so we're earning interest on that amount, 3.5%. So interest accrued this month is 38 cents. The lifetime since we started this count maybe a month ago, we're earned $2.63. All right, let's review our positions in this account. First up is Bitwise XRP ETF, $22.75. Market value is at $568.75. We're down 18,088 cents for an average cost of $23.51 for 25 shares. Not sure if this is going to be a dividend paying position, but if not, we got a little skin in XRP gain. All right. Next, we got ICOI, Bitwise Coin, Option Income Strategy. Now, I do have some of this in the other Robinhood account as well. All right. But this is in my cash account. All right. So it's at $21 again. We have $525. We're down 17,005 cents for an average cost of $21.68 for 25 shares. I do believe we got some dividends for this one as well. All right, so we're at 25 shares of $259, and I gave us $64.87. All right, next we got Netflix. All right, so the Netflix in the other account. So let's go back. So this where you're at, sweetie. There you go. So why do I have? All right, Netflix. So this Netflix and this cash account, I got one when they did the split. I think Netflix was over 1,000, and they did a split 10 for 1 or 1 for 10, I believe, split. And so that brought the price down to $100, so to speak. So what I did is I acquired 10 shares at an average cost of $104.56. You can see we're down $31.66, right? All right. So these shares over here in this account that I got 100 shares, I acquired these when I got the news that Netflix was buying Warner Brothers for, I believe, $72,000 cash. Now, thought that was pretty much a done deal, but I think they still have to go through regulators and get it approved. Um, there may be what they call what is it, market manipulation, I think, a monopoly, where they own more than their share. I mean, what is it called when you have a monopoly on the market? So if that passes the regulators, then hopefully it'll be a good thing. But if not, they may suspend it or refuse this. All right, let's move on. All right, so we got Netflix out of the way. Let's get both of those out of the way. All right, so now we have Granite Shares Yield Boost Coin ETF, $10.06. Our market value is $503. We're up $5.63 for an average cost of $9.95 for 50 shares. We have upcoming dividends for this one, $50 at 28 cents. 28 cents, $14.09. This is to be paid out on the 9th. All right, so this is going to be paid on the 9th. All right. Next, we got Granite Shares NVIDIA, NTF, $20.45. It's up 5 cents in the overnight market. Our market value is at $511.25. We're down $9.25 for an average cost of $20.82 for 25 shares. All right, so we have 25 shares at 39 cents. That's $9.80. All right. Next, we got Granite Shares Yield Boost AMD ETF, $17.30. Our market value is at $432.50. We're down $142.60 for an average cost of $23. We also got dividends pending for this, so 25 shares at 43 cents gives us $10.69. All right, next we got YieldMax NVIDIA performance and distribution target of 25 cents. All right, so it's at 49.45. Our market value is at $495.50. We're down $2.52. Our average cost is $49.70 for 10 shares. All right, we got a distribution on this one yet. Right here. So December the 3rd, we had 10 shares at 23 cents for $2.33. All right, next we got YieldMax Mr. Performance and distribution target is 47.35. Our market value is 236.75. We're up $4.01 for an average cost of $46.55 for 5 shares. Alrighty, so all right, 5 shares at 22 cents gave us $1.12. All right, next we got our Charles Schwab cash account. Total cost basis $9,176. $74.74. Market value is at around $6,600, a little bit over $6,600. All right, so this position right here is Misty. After the Misty split, reverse split, that's in the average cost is going to be $85.81. I don't know if that's accurate. Until this finish completing processing for tomorrow. But anyway, so we have Kavana at 6 shares, ETCO at 5 shares, Hui, the round hill version, 2 shares, ICOI, we have 117 shares here. ICRC, we have 11 shares here. IETH, we have 10 shares. IOYY, we have 45 shares. May, we have 29 shares, which I think is Mara. Morrow, we have 28 shares. Murney, we have 3 shares. Platy, we have 5 shares. SMCY, we have 20 shares. And TSYY, we have 70 shares. All right, so we're down just a little bit over 2,000. So we gained some of that back. I think we was down as much as 2,700. All right, so for this month in our cash account, and mainly most of it's probably due to ICOI, where we got $298.42. That was on December the 2nd. All right, and I think we're supposed to get another distribution around December the 30th or something like that, right? And we only got that in this month because of Thanksgiving, so it got pushed to Monday as the payout. But so far for this month, we've gotten $359.87 for this account. Like I said, most of that is going to be ICOI. All right. So let's hit our Excel spreadsheet. All right. Our Excel spreadsheet. All right. So, for the month of December, since this is started, we have $4,106.81 on our active income. Um, Passive income prior, I guess we'll cover this from last week. That was 3,566.95, and we got some dividends. We brought it to 3,621.90. And because they did pay ICOI and some of the others out on Monday in the month of December, I went ahead and added to the month of December. Technically, it should have been here, but technically, since it was actually paid out in December, I decided to go ahead and record it in this month. Okay, so our total active income from my employers at $50,839.30 minus $5,083.93 in my tithes. All right, so our passive income sits at passive income that we got for the month of December so far sits at $1,759.67. Our total passive income for the year is $95,749.18, even though we pretty much have lost all of that due to our margin call. All right. So combined, our active and passive income is sitting at $146,588.48. Average active income is $4,248.41. Average monthly passive income is $8,544.50. All right, so here it says our prior margin balance was $23,192.21. All right, so if you go back and watch last week's video, around the around the timestamp of 2:35, 2 minutes and 36 seconds, or 2 minutes and 35 seconds, I actually recorded this wrong. That video is going to show that I had RobinHood margin of, I believe, $64,771, I think. So what I had done is I actually recorded the total available margin instead of the actual margin borrowed. The actual margin borrowed should have been around 23 or $17,000, but I actually had the available margin in that spot. That's my mistake. So we actually have less money that we owe. All right. So that's actually $31,941. Well, actually, it just went up because I just borrowed. Yep. Let's update that now because I just borrowed some more, right? So that actually sits at 42. Should I get it down? 42,637.74. All right. That's what it was last night when I did the calculation. But like I said, I bought some 80 shares of Hood right before going live. I guess you can say live. It's pre-recorded. All right. So that's where we actually sit there. So that changes this to 239,883.45. And that's actually going to be 12/08/2025. All right. Now, so prior balance was 23. That was the true prior balance. But it's actually now 42,637.74. Robinhood goes at 55. Robinhood interest 38.6110, and that's averaging. I guess now that should be 12 months. 12 months. All right. So our total debt now sits at $239, 854 $239,854.20. All right. So our highest debt was around August at 323, 560.57 minus 239, 854 point boom. So we're down $83,706.37. So most of that you can attribute of selling back the positions, giving it back to Robinhood, as we got margin call. So we no longer owe 83,000. So we no longer owe that $83,706.37. That has been given back to Robinhood. All right. So some people look at that as a loss, but it was really their money. So technically, I just gave it back. I guess you can say my time was wasted in a sense, but that's of my own doing. All right. So unfortunately, my interest for 2025 now sits at $27,554.67. Now, I intentionally did that because the plan was going into 2026 is that my monthly income was going to be between 15 and 20K. But because I went ahead and bought some more positions, I got margin call, and I'm back at square one in a sense. So with me getting approximately 15 to 20K per month, um, I would have started going into 26 paying down this debt. But since I got margin call, I no longer have those dividends, and therefore, uh, this plan of delaying this and taking on this debt did not work out. Okay, so now our target going into 2026 is to pay down this debt first. Yeah, we have margin. We know we're going to have to pay the margin, right? But primary is going to be targeting um, paying down this debt because that was too much interest. As you can see, that's a lot. That's a lot of interest because we delayed it. All right, so yeah, and it's going to be. I mean, we probably won't actually start seeing something really being paid until probably about February or March, because um, the positions I got with Hood, SoFi, and Netflix, right? Those three positions. That money is being preoccupied with the underlying stock, right? So if we can gain about $2,000 or $3,000 maybe from each position on average, uh, then we will sell, and then we will put that money to use to actually getting monthly distribution. Because right now we're sitting at about averaging based on Divi Tracker about 2,000 a month, and that's not gonna cut it because that's not gonna it's just not gonna cut it. So I'm gonna need that to start to be to make the monthly dividend. Hopefully, I'm just I'm just thinking in my head that once I do that and get into the positions, and I probably will ease into my distributions. I mean my dividend positions, and instead of going all in at once like I generally would do and borrowing, buying bulk. I probably will ease into it. That way I can pay some of the margin down before taking all that margin on at one time. And then you have a downturn in the market, and then I don't have enough buffer. All right. So, yeah. All right. So, I didn't check to see if I took any additional money out of Robinhood. I don't think I did. I think this is up to date. But anyway, it's showing that I deposited in the Robinhood is 1,885.92, and our withdrawals from Robinhood account is at 11,502.33. All right. So we did change this here. Of course, our biggest position right now is ICOI. Um, so we did just go with what we got now as far as number of shares we have acquired instead of keeping the total amount that we had in our prior when we had the 1,600 shares. Since that's the past, we just wiped it out. All right, so this is where we sit now with the ICOI account. And I may have to go back and tweak this because if I sold, yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and look at that because all these dividends may not be reset with this amount. Oops, with this amount that we just acquired. So I got to make sure these dividends are reflecting just on the dividends that we got from the 15,000 and not what we had at the 57,000. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to go back and look at that. All right, but if that is correct, and this is what we know, because we only have 500 shares, so it should be only about $1,200. Yep, I think so. All right, Misty, since we still have Misty and we just keeping it the tally going until we get to break even though most of my Misty was sold other than what I had in my Charles Swap account. All right, so it's saying we're 72% complete from having house money. But like I said, I got to go back and revise this special ICOI because that's not going to be correct. I know it's about maybe $1,300, right? So technically, we're only 8% complete. And so that means we're 92% away from having house money. But anyway, all right, got that done. Let's hit DB tracker. All right. All right. So it's out of the way. So DB tracker has us now. I think the highest I've seen it was maybe 206,000. All right. So right now we're at $26,070 of annual income based on the dividends that we have. We don't have a lot. And then the few that we have, we only have a small position in those because I'm still figuring out which ones I want. The ones I definitely was looking at was HOOW and HOOY. But with Robinhood going up, those are going up, and I right now I don't want to get them. It got up to $82, right? I believe it was HOOW, the round here version of Robinhood, got up to $82, and I was aiming to set my stop loss, um, stop limit order when it got up there, and um, I didn't. But that's one of the things I got to do to sort of protect my capital investment. So even if the stock is on its way down, you can get out and get into another position. And that's something I didn't do with Coney. Had I done it with Coney, I could have gotten out before it got down to 50 something $1,000 in the negative, right? And moved that to another position and been rolling right along. All right, so it shows that we have 22 positions and holding that includes ETFs and the underlying stocks. All right, we show that my biggest position is ICOI, that's 76% of my portfolio. And the next one is IOYY by Granite Shares. All right, so in 2 days, we will be getting $72.35 from IOYY, COYYTSYY So it look like all of these are by Granite Shares. Okay. All right. right? So it's estimating that ICOI for December that we'll be getting 1665. I think it'll be a little bit more than that, but who knows? All right, moving right along. All right, all right. So here is Snowball Analytics. This was information that was given on December the 1st regarding SoFi and Netflix. All right. So it has in this position shows that my position that we should be getting about 22,000 over the next 12 months, averaging about 1848 per month. All righty. And it shows that I've got $95,025 in dividends total. Okay. Uh-oh. What's this saying here? Trump warns Netflix Warner deal may pose antitrust problems. So that's what I was sort of talking about earlier. That President Trump raised antitrust concerns regarding Netflix plan 72 billion acquisition of Warner Brothers. All right, the deal could push Netflix market share over the critical 30% threshold, which may attract scrutiny from the Justice Department Antitrust Division. Netflix is expected to counter those concerns by arguing that competitors like YouTube and TikTok should be included in the market analysis, potentially reducing its perceived dominance. Trump confirmed in his involvement in the decision-making process and acknowledged his recent meeting with Netflix CEO Ted to discuss the acquisition. Hmm. 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 Mm. Now, I'm gonna keep my comment to myself on that. Hmm. All right. So, other news, we got QuantumScape stock got crushed in November. What was it? Carnival stock to be in 5 years. Hood buying SoFi stock today set you up for lifetime. Okay. All right. So let's get here. Now this hasn't updated because it doesn't show the share count here. Okay, it doesn't show the share count here. But anyways, it doesn't have all the shares tallied here. All right. So dividends received. Now, I don't know how it's doing this because it's showing 40,000 received, and at one time it was showing up to about 114,000 received or something like that. So I guess it's saying I don't know how it's doing it. I sell the dividends. It took what I don't know, but this is where we're currently at 40,000. I don't know if it's based off what we have or what, because if you go back and look at the history, it was showing different numbers here, right? But that's saying 40,697 received. I don't know if it took that away when I sold my other positions. I don't know how it does that. I don't know what was thinking that. But anyway. All right. Let's get to Q&A. So we hear we get out of here. Da 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 da. All right, let's see how we want to do this. All right. All right, Mike Lesser. My good friend Mike says, I'm dying to get into BEW next. It will probably be my last play of the year. Gotta get them bills cause I went nut. Wait a minute. I gotta pay them bills cause I went nutty spending on family for Christmas. Mike went out there and dropped that 75K. 75K on Christmas gifts. Now he didn't say that. I'm exaggerating. He didn't say nothing like that, people. All right, I says, look, I got the name wrong here. I said she doesn't look that hot to me, but you should have plenty of money with all those dividends you made this year. Laughing out loud. He says, yes, sir, I did, boss. True, I did end up buying CRCO and RDDY. I said, nice choices. I'm not assuming you mean RDYY because if you bought RDDY, that's the Canadian version. He replied, my bad, Reddit American version. All right, Liveville US says, what's wrong with Coney? I said, Coney did a reverse split 10 for 1. I guess that's what he's talking about. I didn't know what he was talking about when he said, what's wrong with Coney? That's the only thing I know is it did a reverse split, right? All right, Hernandez says, crazy how Hood went from $10 to over $100 in about a year. I do not see much difference in the Robinhood app to see a big difference. And it's not all about the Robinhood app, it's the new features that are coming out in the Robinhood app that they announced at, what was it? They had a summit, right? A Robinhood, I think it was a Robinhood summit that they did, announcing all the features that they were going to be supposed to be bringing out this fall, right? One of them was being the ability to be able to create multiple accounts, which I think you can do 10. And then they got what is it? Robinhood, excuse me, Robinhood strategies or Robinhood markets. That's supposed to be a big thing that's coming out, right? And then hopefully this doesn't reveal any personal information, but you got Robinhood Legend. You got this. But I think this came out a little bit a while ago. But you got do have this here. Um, Robinhood Legends, right? All right. But yeah, Robinhood's got a lot of things in the pipeline getting ready to come out. You saw how I was showing in the Yahoo that they are acquiring. This is the second acquisition in the past month. So yes, they are getting ready to change the game. And if you can get in now and ride that baby up, I don't know how far she gonna go, but I think she gonna go. Um, she could be like Coinbase, 300 up to $800 at one point in time, right? Something like that. So I said, yeah, I remember that $70. And I remember Chris saying he was when it was at $70, he said it was going to 100, and now it's at 133. That may be an all-time high. Is that? Let's see. Let's see. How do I get back from Robinhood Legend? Let's just go here. And what am I looking for? Oh, Hood, right? So let's go here. And let's look at Hood. See what their all-time high is. All right. So 52-week, Hood got up to $153. All right. So now it's at 133. So you're looking at about $20 per share. All right. $20 per share. So that's a little money, and I don't know if it's going to go higher than what it previously did, but that's just a little money there. We're talking $20 extra per share. Um, yeah. All right. So where was I? I said, yeah, I remember that $70 and shot up quick from there. The new features for the Robinhood account will be coming out shortly, probably in the first quarter of 2026. I think they did something where they merged with some sort of AI. So yeah, so that may be three things. They did an acquisition of a company that's supposed to help their sort of like their what is it projection market. Where people can bet on games. I believe they required a company for that. I thought I saw something about AI. I don't remember. And then they just did the acquisition that I mentioned of the Indonesia market, Southeast Asia. So they are slowly but steady gaining some ground. All right. So Mike says, yeah, I heard that too. I'm old school, so I don't dig it. Wait a minute. Whoa, 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 whoa. He said, yeah, I heard that too. I'm old school, so I don't dig it. More basic, the better with some things. Okay. I think he's talking about the RobinHood app by keeping it simplistic, um, better. I think that's what he's talking about. I think that's what you're talking about, Mike. Um, Code 77799 says, "How much buff are you planning to hold this time?" Uh-oh. And what's the emergency tactics? Uh-oh. China and Japan banks gonna raise interest, which means no more free money, which means mass Bitcoin sell-off might fall to 60K. You got to have a plan for this outcome, bro. It's all over the news. And I honestly did not hear and know about this until he actually mentioned it. I said, thank you for the information because I have not heard anything about it until you mentioned it in this video. The plan is to try to keep my buffer at 50, my buff at 50% just on the ETF positions. And I said of buying quality stocks that will probably be less than 50%. So as you see now, it is less than 50%. It's at 24% because I did purchase Robinhood, SoFi, and Netflix. All right. Jack says the market really bums all investors. Hope margin does not fully take out more and more. Hernandez replied, I think if you dollar cost average on recurrent schedules using margin with good investment, then it can work out well. I agree. Don't over leverage yourself like I did. Mike says the hush session was like an Ashmer video, my dude. Public places, so gotta be low key. I said, man, I had to look up that video. I said, the one I found, she was talking very soft, and I'm looking for the volume button. She was going like this. It said $4.27. It goes like I'm like, who watches a video with that kind of talk with it so low? I mean, I don't. I'm sure there's a market for somebody, but I, I, I'm sitting there. I was literally looking for my volume, but I said, wait a minute, I can't even hear her. But I realized she was talking like this. And the Robin Hood button says, Mike Lesser says the hush session was like Ashburn videos, my dude. So there's a market for it. All right. Hernandez says, buy, buy, buy. This is an opportunity. Yep, they keep saying this is going to be the greatest wealth transfer. All right. I said, I need to borrow some money so I can take advantage of this opportunity you speak of. He didn't reply. So I guess that means get your own money. All right. Let's go here. All right. Let's see here. Miss Robinson says, I'm going to pass in all these ETF. Someone else liked her comment as well. Mike Lesser says, I noticed that UBEW didn't take much damage from the massive drop we had, which is cool. Plus, the growth potential. So I'm guessing it's a good bet, my dude, since I got 50 shares of CROCO already. Laughing out loud. He got 3 likes. I said, yes, growth potential is probably there. Chris Sane tells us about this one on a regular basis. So even if the dividends are not paying what you would think it would be paying, possibly of growth, I guess, is there. He says, for sure. Miss Robinson says, I have 2 shares of YEET and I'm going to build it up to 500 shares with dividend reinvestment program. So what she's going to do is she's got 2 shares, right? She's probably going to buy a few more shares, but then she's going to turn on the drip dividend reinvestment program to get it up to 500 shares. I said, just be careful with it. ETH is down 34% year to date. Mike Lesser says, Roundhill death depressing distro after that big drop, but I still made 2K. Often, most weeks, I'm getting around 3 to 4K. Man, so if Mike is getting around 3 to 4K a week, then he's doing what I was doing. Let's say he's getting 4, right? If he's getting 4K, so Mike, you getting about 12 to 16K a month, my guy. You are doing what I was trying to do, Mike. You there, bro? You there? He is there based on those numbers. I say, yeah, it's probably just fluctuating. In months to come, it'll pay good once things smooth out. 2 grand, that's a nice money right there, my brother. He says, nope, not too shabby for free. Yep. Alrighty. Next, we got this one. All right. Gary says, most of the YieldMax are garbage, always in the red with exception of a few. I'm glad I got out of them now. Erosion is awful. YieldMax goal is to provide the highest yield, not to maintain the now. They tell us this in what they call it, the white sheets. I'm gonna say white sheets, but it's the prosperous or prosperous or something. I can't remember what the word is. All right. Next we got this one. All right. I like saying code 77799. Right? 77799. He says HOOW flying to the moon. Share price and dividends. He got 2 likes, 3 replies. Mike says, yes, sir. Soon it will be paying $1.50 to $2 per share again. The big recent dip hit Roundhill ETFs hard, but they recovering. He got 3 likes. I said, yes, I regret not getting in at the 52 price tag because it was about 72 or $82 before it fell back to 52. I said, with things getting ready to come out with Robinhood in the next few months, the stock price is going to jump and the ETF will probably pay significant dividends. He said, that's what I'm banking on, bud. That's what I'm banking on. He said, I'm accruing at these low prices because look, I mean, if you saw HOO go to $82 this last time, right? And it hits back there and you're getting it at 52, man, that's going to be $30 a share. And if you accrue a nice portion, man, you could actually sell out your position and make huge bag and rather just sticking around for the dividends, right? And you hold that dividends, and when she do come back, and if it's still a good, reliable position to be in, you get back in at the low price with the dividends, or you can put that cash aside. You know, everybody's strategy is different. All right. Spicy Tuna says, awesome presentation, super informative and easy to follow. He said, thanks. I said, thank you, Spicy. I appreciate you viewing the content. I appreciate the feedback. He said it was an awesome presentation, super informative and easy to follow. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. All right. Shorts. Let's see here. November the 22nd. Yeah. See here. That may be too old. Yep. 2 weeks ago. All right. 11 days ago. 7 days ago. All right. Sniper or us says, how do you feel about Bitto? I said it's down $25.35, 64% all time, like most of these ETFs. It was one position I was thinking about getting into at one time. That's about Pro shares, $13 is what it's looking at. 52 high was 27, is above its 52-week low right now. Inception date was a few years back, right? So $13. It's paying. It's pretty decent for monthly payout. It's pretty decent. All right. Pocket Change Pro says, brother, at this point, is it worth having margin on? You were doing so well, and that crowd messed you up. I don't know much about margin call, but based on what happened to you, I won't be messing with it anytime soon. It's not, look, margin is not bad. It's like giving your kid a bag of candy, and you open it up and you give it to them and you say, look, don't get no more than two pieces. And you walk away and you're expecting them to only eat two pieces. And that's what I did. I got too much. I didn't have enough patience there at the end. I was so close. I was just ready to get to my target. I wanted that at 15 to 20K a month, and I was trying to get there, and I went ahead and sold my Palantir, got back in the market, bought some additional shares in Coney, bought some additional ICOI, and then the market went down. So, um, I had just been a little disciplined and waited and been patient for a little bit, and then the market would have been down. I would have had some nice buffer, and I probably would have came out and been good by now. All right. But anyway, we live, we learn. I said margin itself didn't mess me up. I did that all by myself, buying using 80% of it, which wasn't a wise thing to do. But hey, I knew the risk. I got too greedy and impatient at near the end of the year. Uh, Ricardo says, I think it might be better to trade options and sell your own calls and put uh, versus buying the high yield TF. Thoughts on that? Pros and cons. Oh, this was last week. Oh, so all that's good. I didn't see this. He says, you are better. Let's see here. He says, you are better in these high yield things. Cover calls and so on are crazy hard, and there could be thousands at stake. With these high yield TF, at least other people try to educate guests and you pay for that. Yeah. Listen, you're an expert at it on doing cover calls. I wouldn't be messing with it. All right. He said something else. He says, try out this system. I didn't see this if you're reading this, Jackie. I didn't see this. I wish every time someone would come in, it would give me a notification, but it doesn't. He said, try out this system. If it really does not work out and make another 40% sell, maybe go for way lower yields, but appreciation and dividend growth will happen forever. Visa, Goldman Sachs, Home Depot, and so on. Double digit dividend hikes each year. Let's see. Oh, okay. I think I get what he's saying. All right. I get it. All right. So this is O. All right. All right. Here we go. Ricardo says, I'm using 178,000 in margin. Now that's way more than I was using, right? I think I got up to 158, 160, let's just say. I think that's the max I had gotten at one time, I think. I could be wrong, but I think that's where I was at one time. I said, okay, please tell us the story behind the 178,000 margin use. All right. So let's read this story. YieldMax mindset. Honestly, it just slowly grew to that over time. I was not using any margin not too long ago because I did not want to pay the interest. But it has slowly helped grow my account substantially. And over time, I just added more cash and also have the high yield ETFs paying it down. I have to keep a little I have to keep a little something for the buffer. I also added many defensive ETFs such as like SGov, JP, uh, SCHD, XLU, I hadn't heard of that one, and etc. to help our margin stay safe. He said our dollar cost average into several investments each week and month using recurrent buys. I sell options such as calls and puts. I buy and hold growth stocks. The next step is that I will use machine learning AI and advanced charting with back testing to improve my trading for entering and exiting positions. I love math quantitatives. If I'm saying it, quantitatives. Trading is interesting to me. That is my hobby. I like everything he said. Um, and he's sound like he's doing a good job and he's protecting his margin. Um, so yeah, I like this. Only thing I probably wouldn't be doing is just the options and the quantitative mathematics that he's talking about because I haven't gotten that far ahead. He's ahead of me on that. But yeah, from what right here on back, boom, yeah, yep. And that's what I'm starting to do. I'm starting to put some growth stocks in there, but mainly just to get some cash, to go up 10, 20%, sell it, boom, wait for it to dip back or find another position, get in, boom. That is to add cash to my account, but it also can hold your margin too. If you're in something like FedEx, Walmart, or General Dollar, um, some BlackRock position, things that don't fluctuate a lot when the market goes down, it can help maintain. All right. Um, this individual says, thanks for the list that pays every day. We're just wondering about that last night. Do you have a PDF for it? I said, you're welcome. I hope it can be informative. Oh, he asked me. No, I don't have a PDF. Nope, I don't have a PDF. I actually got that off of a Twitter account, so it's not actually my copy. It's not actually my copy. Okay. All right. Victimizer 639 says, is this including your Forex? I say, if I understand what you're asking, all that you're all that you're all that you're seeing is using that. I did move 5K to the cash account. He says maybe a good idea for us to get net. Oh, Mike says it may be a good idea for us to get net. Uh, what is that? Is that NFL? Is that Net? I think that Netflix. Yeah, I think that's what that is, right? NFLY. Yeah, I think that's Netflix. Yeah, I think that's Netflix. It's been holding steady. It's paying out 17 this last time. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. That's all of that. Next, we got our post. I don't think I actually responded to any of these, so I may have to just do a verbal response here. Let's see here. What was this? 10 days ago? 10 days ago. Okay. All right. So let's go to this one. 8 days ago. Okay. Let's go here. 3 days ago. Classic says, I made a wise choice holding. And I'm assuming he's talking about the position he was in before the reverse split. I'm assuming. Or just in general, his position is recovering. He glad. I said it's always good to hear when decisions we make work out in our favor. All right. All right. Gary said May. I said yes, that's correct. Uh This individual says, this is my new favorite page. My eye in lab. I don't know. He said, this is my new favorite page. Thanks, man. I said, thank you, sir. I like the quote myself. And thanks for stopping by and viewing the content. All right. So I don't know why he said this is my new favorite page. I don't know if he's talking about the channel or just this here regarding the distribution announcements. All right. All right. So, hey, we didn't quite get it out in an hour, but we're right at an hour. So that's great. Um, let's see how the market goes this week. Hopefully, we can have some positive catalysts that will cause these things to run up. Hopefully, crypto can be a catalyst as well. But anyway, just get money, people. Let's get money, whether it's